Right, it's the All Blacks' biggest test of the year, the biggest since the Rugby World Cup final. The All Blacks versus South Africa at Eden Park on Saturday night. Their unbeaten run on Eden Park stretches back to 1993 is seriously under threat. Well, how seriously? Here's rugby analyst Gregor Paul to tell us all about it. Gregor, thank you very much for joining us this bright Auckland morning. Lay it out for us. What do you see?
What I see, probably two teams, number one, number two in the world at the moment, whether they're worthy of those rankings, neither of whom have been particularly impressive so far this year. They've had their moments both, but they're both struggling a wee bit to live up to their billing, so they're both feeling a wee bit of pressure. But look, these two countries have got a long history of when they meet each other. You can forget what's been going on in the past because they just tend to explode when they meet each other, bring the best out. And look, they're both playing with a little bit of desperation, a little bit of pressure in the background. So it should be a fairly intense match on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing sort of some old faces almost now, guys like Faf de Klerk coming back into the other side there. Is there a little bit of desperation from South Africa as well?
I don't know if there's desperation quite yet. That's probably a bit unfair of me to use that word. Maybe next week, one team will be feeling that, because presumably we'll see not a draw. So one team will have won, one will have lost. So that desperation might be more prevalent next week. Now, look, I think there's probably coaches lean into experience at a time like this, so particularly South Africa. New Zealand have got a wee bit of trouble at halfback for them. They've got a long list of injuries. Maybe Rassie's just brought Faf de Klerk over here to make a point to Razor, saying, "Hey, look how many fit guys I've got that can play in a position that you've only got. You've got no one really in your top tier available to play." So look, there'll be a bit of subterfuge going on as well before Saturday night.
Yeah, speaking of subterfuge, there's been a bit of chat, and speaking halfbacks, around Aaron Smith. What do we make of that?
Well, I think the bit of chat you're talking to is my colleague Elliot Smith writing a column about that. I don't actually know if there's been any wider chat than that. So, look, no, that's not something that's been seriously considered.
I guess you talked about leaning on experience, and if we look at the track record there that Razor has had as coach, what do we sort of, he's lost 5 out of 19, are my numbers right there?
I think your numbers are right, yeah.
So 6 out of 20 wouldn't look good, would it? Fair bit of pressure on him?
Yeah, well, there's two benchmarks, there's two indices here that you tend to monitor with All Black coaches. One is the sort of comparative performance with their professional peer group. And at the moment, I think 14 out of 19 puts Razor somewhere close to the bottom in comparison with his professional All Black peers. And the other key index to keep an eye on is the historic rate at which the All Blacks have won their all-time overall record, which is about 76% of all games they've won. And at 70%, he's tracking behind that as well. So these are two concerns for him at the moment. You've got to be living a little bit higher than that. You've got to be up around that 75, preferably 80%. Otherwise, you are damaging the legacy because your numbers are going to pull the overall number down. So a sixth defeat rather would really be problematic for him because these numbers would start to be a concern. It would start to be a concern in a specific regard that would be number 5, fifth consecutive loss to South Africa. That would start to be problematic given that they've got to play them again next week in Wellington. And look, a little bit of the concern is not just about the results. A wee bit at the moment is about consistency of performance because we haven't seen that. Yeah, they've won quite a lot of games, but we haven't seen a definitive style or consistency or got a really clear idea about what his vision is for this team. So these are the kind of peripheral matters that are compounding into that core element of 14 out of 19 is just not high enough to give everyone confidence that this is going in the right direction.
And I guess the team's out Thursday. Are we expecting him to sort of roll the dice again and try anything new off the back of that loss over in South America?
Look, he's given the impression this week, Razor, I'm talking about, You know, he sort of messaged subliminally that he's got every faith in the guys that played last time round. He's trying to portray confidence by saying, hey, look, we didn't win, but we're not going to rip everything up and throw it all away. I've got faith. I've got confidence in the players. I've got confidence in my game plan. And from everything he's said so far, I'm not getting the impression he's going to make any dramatic or radical shifts. He probably doesn't need to, other than maybe one or two positions where I feel that he does have to make a choice, and I'm talking here about who he plays on in his back three, potentially who he plays in his midfield. But I have a suspicion that he's going to wheel them all out again and say, I believe in you. Go and prove me right. Go and show why. I thought you were the guys when I picked you the first time.
All right, so what are you picking? All Blacks by 3 if they're lucky?
I hate predicting games. If I was any
good at
it, I'd probably not be doing this for a living. I'd be living off my gambling loot. No, look, I just have a feeling South Africa. I don't know what the weather's going to do. I mean, who would know? It's Auckland, but no, look, I have a feeling that there's one or two issues building in that All Black team, and I think if you've got one or two issues, South Africa are the team that will prise open those cracks and blow you apart. And I just have a feeling that South Africa will win on Saturday.